I think that when you are unhappy with the world, you endeavor yourself to create your own.
All fathers are monsters because all fathers are sons. That's the message of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. At last, Del Toro, the greatest cinematic magician since Jim Henson, tackles the monster. And with his telling of Mary Shelley's story, he's made 4 masterpieces in one. A fabulous adaptation of Frankenstein, the definitive Guillermo del Toro movie, an honest self-portrait, and a meditation on sons, fathers, regret, and forgiveness that feels urgently human in 2025. Is this the book to the letter? Absolutely not. As Victor says near the film's open, some of it is fact, some is not, but it is all true. So let's explore the truth in the tale. Let's put on our red leather gloves, reach into the monster's chest, and touch his beating heart. This is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein Dissected.
Nora, are you sure this is an emergency? We have tickets to the theater.
Hi everybody, Papanaut here. I'm a dad that loves movies from San Antonio, Texas. I treated myself to Frankenstein on the big screen last week, and I've been thinking about it ever since. I love monster movies, but that's not the staying power here, at least for me. I put Papa in my handle because being one is the biggest joy of my life. My wife and I just celebrated our son's 5th birthday, and seeing this movie as a father raising a son is like putting on a suit tailored just for you.
I think treating the creature like an extension of Victor is an interesting thing, because that to me is fatherhood, bad fatherhood. When you treat your kid as an extension of you, that is making you look good or look bad. The moment when you say, when the child has to say, look, to you I'm this or that, but to me I'm just existing. And that's a moment in the film, actually.
There's clearly an intention here. So let's explore what Frankenstein represents and what we can learn from it. Frankenstein is usually pitched as a cautionary tale of creation. It's the supporting evidence for that Ian Malcolm quote.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
But that takedown plays the life of the monster, which is surprising because if I asked you to recite one line from Frankenstein, you'd say, "It's alive, it's alive, it's alive!" It's not switched on, it's brought to life. When Victor sparks life into his creation, he isn't inventing something, he's procreating.
I must confess, I never considered what would come after creation.
The brilliant scientist has crossed into a space he's not equipped for. And even if he were, any parent will tell you, the second that life comes into being, you are no longer in control. Something that stands out in Del Toro's version is how immediate the father and son dynamic is. From the moment the creature wakes, there's this tender curiosity, this mirroring between them. You can see Victor's vulnerability. He's physically outmatched, but mentally superior. And what he does next is something only a man would do. Instead of a nurturing introduction to this world, he takes this newborn life to the basement and chains it up. He's not thinking about the creature, only himself. This creature is born into loneliness. And Del Toro frames his becoming as tragic, not horrific. We're left with the image of the creature, rejected, abandoned, calling for his father in the dark. And when he later says, "I called your name and realized I was alone," he confirms that trauma was one of his earliest memories. It's the moment that seals their fate, the mirror where both father and son become monsters. By the time the creature is born, we've seen Victor's own transformation from son to father, and it's just as tragic. Though his father is passed, Victor's act of creation, defying death, is all in service of proving his worth to his late father. You get the sense that if Victor could revive his father, it'd only be to say, "I told you so." Because Victor doesn't want healing, he wants vindication. So his creation becomes both pride and punishment, a monument to the pain he refused to feel. Del Toro lays it all out here.
Father to son, son to father, sort of lineage of pain. Because when one of the things we do when we're flawed, and I am flawed, is you are so busy feeling like a hurt son that you turn into a father and you don't realize it. And then you have to tell your kids, "I am your father. And I just realized it," and you have to apologize.
That's why Del Toro and Oscar Isaac were the perfect pair for this film.
What made you say, this is what I want to spend years of my life focusing on?
Well, I found it a great way to talk about me and my dad, And then as the years passed, I found that it was a great way to talk about me and my dad and me and my kids. Father is always a big shadow on a child, and then you behave like a child, and then you become a father, and you're still behaving like a child, and then you pass that shadow. And if you don't talk about it, no one tells you about it, you know, and your father is not a supernatural being, he's just a guy. And making peace with that identity, with the identity of you and your father, and stopping the pain, whatever it is, by forgiveness and acceptance, it makes it profound and it makes it mine.
I live in South Texas and can absolutely testify. The shadow of the father looms different in a Latin family. Del Toro is the father of 2 daughters. Oscar Isaac has 2 sons. When they met, they didn't start talking about Frankenstein.
Yeah, I started crying over pork and beans and our fathers.
Yeah, and being fathers,
Yeah.
inadequate.
Inadequate fathers.
Both roles.
And the fear of continuing it. And then, and then you looked up and you said, I think you need to be my Victor Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And that's where Frankenstein becomes personal. With his movies, Del Toro has always been a father to his monsters. He gives them what the world won't: empathy. Listen to him here.
We are all creatures. I mean, we have a world that tells you you shouldn't be a creature, but in reality, we're all weird in some way. And it's not the weird that is bad, it's the fact that we say that the weird is bad that is bad.
He's not just speaking as an artist, he's speaking as a parent. In a way, every film he makes is a creature that he lets loose on the world, and sometimes they're misunderstood, but they're always made with love. Del Toro describes directors as spies from another planet trying to understand humanity.
Film directors and Victor Frankenstein have a lot in common.
In what way? Explain.
Well, you try to control, and things go wrong when you try to control.
With his Frankenstein, Del Toro is building to understand, not to control. That's his evolution as an artist and as a father. To let go, to love without ownership, and to forgive the weirdness in himself so his creations don't have to apologize for theirs. In its final scenes, Frankenstein does something no other version has. It ends with hope.
It ends with this moment of, of the creature, because of this moment of compassion and moment of forgiveness, is
Freeing
able
those that attack
to be compassionate to others, to a whole society of people that are also headed down the wrong direction. So it ends in this moment of hope, which the book doesn't necessarily do that.
In their last moments together, we see a son who doesn't ask for pity, only to exist, and a father, eyes heavy with regret, finally acknowledging his son and begging for forgiveness.
And regret is what Victor learns in this film. He has no regrets until he understands the other. And understanding the other right now is absolutely urgent.
Victor's journey isn't about defeating death. It's about learning to love something flawed without needing it to reflect his own greatness. The creature says, "I am obscene to you, but to me, I simply am." And that's the most human line of the film. It's a plea for unconditional acceptance. And that's where the whole story comes full circle, because maybe all fathers are monsters, but only until they stop pretending not to be.
For me, the urgent message is, what if we could all forgive each other into existing? What if we could all be flawed? What if we could all allow everybody to be flawed?
We inherit pain, we pass it down, and sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. But Frankenstein reminds us that the cycle can end, not with punishment or perfection, but with forgiveness. We stop being monsters when we forgive the people who made us, and when we allow ourselves and our children to exist without shame. And as a dad, I hope we can all find the courage to look at what's broken and love it anyway. Were you as moved by Frankenstein as I was? Let me know in the comments. And don't be a stranger, please subscribe. Until next time, be good.